So there was recently a study done by two college professors to rank which city in the United States of America has the best NFL fans for their respective franchise in their city. And the number one team was the Dallas Cowboys. And people are upset with this. And other people are upset of where their team ranked, and people are upset that, this team got ranked higher than theirs, and etc., etc. I gotta tell you, when I saw this list and saw this report and saw what went into the report, and that's the key thing that I think people are leaving out, is they're not considering what variables were examined. I gotta tell you, I don't disagree with this list much at all. I mean, there might be a few things where I'm like, oh, maybe this team should be a notch higher or lower, but that's about it. And as far as Dallas having the number one fans, I hate to break it to you, but the franchise does. That franchise does. I'll leave a link in the video description, an article that's talking about this. I'll read over some things here real quick. Two professors, Mike Lewis and Manish Tripathi, named the study the, quote, 2015 NFL Fan Equity Ranking, and use the following criteria to evaluate how NFL teams' fan bases ranked against one another. In terms of nuts and bolts of what we are about to present, we use 15 years of data on NFL team performance, ticket prices, market populations, median incomes, won-loss records, and multiple other factors. We create statistical models of box office revenue and then see which teams over and underperform the model's predictions. The winner this year is the Dallas Cowboys, followed by the Patriots, Giants, Ravens, and the Jets. The Cowboys have a storied history and a market that loves all forms of football in a world-class stadium. Anyways, I'll leave the link in the video description if you want to read more about the article. And I'm just going to go over, some of the things that stick out. And on Philadelphia Sports Talk, a lot of people are pissed where the Eagles fell on this list. They fell in at number 11. Now, one of the things you have to consider here is there is a couple of areas that this statistical analysis, what they did that makes one area more advantaged, one city more advantaged than another. But for how it broke down, it really actually rendered what I thought was a pretty good result. You have the Dallas Cowboys at number 1. Now, when you're talking about a place that loves football, it's Texas, and there's no denying that. And they have the huge stadium, obviously that gives them a benefit in the equation here, because one of the variables is how much money the team draws in based on ticket prices, based on the GDP of the town, etc., etc. But that's like one of the stadiums where people, go to. People go to just to see it. So you're getting a lot of road money. You're getting more road money, road fan money than you would, say, in Cleveland. And so Dallas has an advantage from that. But on top of that, you have a team that is represented by such a large fan base, and they have been such a perennial joke for so many years. Like, if there was a fan base that was going to start losing fans, it would have been this team. And granted, this analysis only goes back 15 years, but 15 years is going back into some dark times for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, that's at the end of the quarterback carousel, the last few quarterbacks that they cycled through. I think, like, Rodney P. and Ryan Leaf were thrown a few games within the last 15 years for the Cowboys before you get to Tony Romo. You're talking about a team that, Romo bobbles a snap in a playoff game and you lose like that. You win 2 playoff games, one of which is a game you won last year against the Detroit Lions, which was a game that many people questioned that Cowboys should have even won. It's a team that hasn't done much of anything in the last 15 years, but they pack that stadium. And it's a lot more than just road team fans. You gotta have a lot more than just road team fans to pack Jerry World. And people love that team, there's no denying. Granted, do I think there's a lot of people that love them for just dumbass reasons? Like, oh, I love the Star. I love the Star. I grew up in Maine, but I love the Star. Like, there's a lot of cockroach Cowboys fans. Don't get me started on that shit. But anyways, and there's a lot of fans that just automatically, magically appeared in 1993. Again, whole different other topic, but there's no denying. I gotta say, I hate the Cowboys. Fuck the Dallas Cowboys, but they got the best fans in football. They got the fans that stick by them. They know the game, follow the game. As far as any other fans that I've talked to, there's a lot of dumbass fans in their fan base as well. But for the most part, they know their fucking football in Texas. That I want to vomit now, complimenting the Cowboys. Eagles fans are upset because they ranked number 11. I gotta tell you right now. At first I was like, damn, the Eagles didn't even rank in the top 10. I was like, they love football here in Philly. They love football, very knowledgeable about it. But when I look at things here, I go, you know what? I'm not that upset about that because it's an honorable spot. It's in the top half rather than the bottom half. And frankly, this is a franchise that has just cut the fans short so many times. Never reached the ultimate goal. Obviously, never won a Super Bowl or anything like that. Many times it feels just so fucking hopeless rooting for this team. But the fans come back. And as far as teams that are really hopeless and have really not done anything, I look at the 10 teams that ranked ahead of them, and I'm like, they're all winners. They're all teams that have proven they can win. Cowboys, Super Bowl winner. Patriots, Super Bowl winner. Number 3, Giants, Super Bowl winner. 4, Ravens, Super Bowl winner. 5, Jets, Super Bowl winner. 6, Bears, Super Bowl winner. 7, Packers, Super Bowl winner. Saints, 8, Super Bowl winner. Colts, 9 Super Bowl winners. At number 10, the 49ers, Super Bowl winner. 11, Eagles. The first team on there that hasn't won a Super Bowl, hasn't won the ultimate prize. I feel honored by that, actually. If there's going to be the one team on there that hasn't won the Super Bowl yet, of the teams that haven't won Super Bowls, and the first one, the highest ranking one is the Eagles, I got no problem with that. If that's the way you want to look at this and feel happier with it, yes, I know I've been to Eagles games. There's been plenty of times where the stadium's been packed and all this stuff, but for market size and whatnot, and the amount of winning that the other teams have done ahead of them, like a lot of people are like, how are the Jets number 5? It's the New York market. The New York market's always going to have an advantage from that end. As far as, like, look at the Knicks, for instance. Just that market there, having a shit team, you still get good attendance for each game. And another thing about this is, there's towns like Dallas and a town like Philadelphia where Dallas is football, football, football. Philadelphia, there's the Eagles, the Flyers, the Sixers, the Phillies, all of which not so much with the Phillies or Sixers because those teams are sucking major cock, but with the Flyers you have a rabid fan base, a team that didn't even make the playoffs, still sold out damn near every game. But with the Sixers and the Phillies even, you still have a knowledge fan base that still follows the product. In Dallas, if the Cowboys aren't doing good, do you really think they're paying attention to the Stars and the Mavericks? Now, there's some diehard fans, but for the most part, that is a significantly heavyweight football town. Now, it's heavyweight football here in Philadelphia as well, but that weight is equally distributed, fairly distributed amongst the 4 teams. So some of these towns that ranked really high are because they're just ravenous football cities, aka a town like Baltimore, for instance, that doesn't have an NHL team or an NBA team. So their team's doing good, and they have 2 Super Bowls in the past 15 years. Then yeah, obviously they're going to rank really high on a list like this. Now, if there's one thing that this does prove, is it shows you where the perennial fair weather towns always lands on a list and evaluation like this. The team that finished dead last is the Miami Dolphins. Because when you look at a city like Miami, it's reasonably wealthy compared to something like Atlanta, where the Falcons finished 12 spots higher than Miami. When you look at a team like the Falcons and the Dolphins, it's like, well, neither team has really done much of anything in the past 15 years, but yet Miami is a significantly more wealthy city, and yet just fans don't show up. Fans don't show up. It's a fair weather sports town. I'm talking to you, Heat fans. and they always finish in the bottoms. I guarantee you, if you do any of their teams, they will always finish near the bottoms. I guarantee, like, if you looked at season ticket sales, I don't even know off the top of my head, if you look at season ticket sales the following year after a team won the World Series, I bet you dollars to donuts the Marlins finished damn near dead last in the league after each time they won their World Series. Anyway, the Dolphins finished dead last. Cleveland finishes at 31, which that's something where I was like, wow, do they really deserve to be that bad? But that's a somewhat jaded fan base. When you're going back to 15 years, you're going back to them just still coming off the edge of being abandoned and going to Baltimore and then seeing the Ravens win a Super Bowl right after your team packed up shop and left town. And that's also a city that is not very wealthy. So, you know, I get the economic factors from that. The Seahawks in at 26. A lot of people seem to be disagreeing with that. Again, a 15-year analysis, if this was like an examination of the last 5 years, I guarantee you Seattle would be in the top 5. What a lot of people I don't think they're understanding is the variables that went into this. It really should add in things. Well, I mean, see, it's kind of unfair too, because like you should say like, oh, well, it should add something in like, you know, television ratings or whatever. But it's like, you know, if your team, like the Eagles, for instance, have a number of primetime football games, obviously their ratings are going to be much higher than a team that is probably going to be better than them just because they don't get primetime football games because, you know, Philly's a team that draws eyes to it because of Chip Kelly and all the, you know, stories that go in and around the team that just, you know, make it a known commodity in the NFL fans' mind. And a lot of people seem to be disagreeing with number 14, the Steelers as well. I gotta say, that's one of the teams where I was like, wow, that really, you know, should be something that's a little higher. You figure they'd be like a top 10 because there's Steelers fans everywhere. That's the one thing that's the one ranking I looked at and I was like, I flat out don't understand. Even understanding the formula that went into this, don't really understand how the Steelers are middle of the pack. Like that's the one. If Steelers fans, if you want to come to this video and say like, oh, that's bullshit, you can't explain how my team did this, and you're right, I can't. I have no idea how the Steelers are ranked there. The Eagles are better. Anyway. So yeah, anyway, if you guys want to look at that article in the video description, see where your team landed. Outside the top 10, the Eagles are 11, Texans 12. That's the first two non-Super Bowl winner teams. Broncos 13, Steelers 14, Redskins 15, Titans 16, Chargers 17, Vikings 18, Cardinals 19, Falcons 20, Buccaneers 21, Panthers 22, Rams 23, Bengals 24, Lions 25, Seahawks 26, Chiefs 27, Bills 28. Who wants to go see football in a blizzard? So that's, I understand that. Jaguars 29, Raiders 30, Browns 31, Dolphins 32. Do you agree with this list? Do you disagree? Again, the only people that I'll agree with that disagree with the rank are the Steelers fans. But anyways, we're number 11 here in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. Sorry, we won the Battle of Pennsylvania again. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to make some rivalry talk here. So, what do you guys think of that list, football fans? And are you happy that I made another football video here for you? I find a way to crowbar in football topic videos here for you. Because it's almost time for training camp, and oh my goodness. Sorry, I just get excited just talking about football. Have a good day, everyone.